Hello, everyone.
Go.
Hello.
Are you just doing it through the laptop?
Let's turn the volume up, I think. 1 minute. Yeah, that's better. Let's turn my volume up. So, see, we've got Nikki.
Yeah. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Nikki. Hi, Nikki.
Oh, hello.
When the phone's buzzing up and all that. Yeah. Okay. Oh, stop it, phone. Why are you doing that? Don't need that. Right, I'm trying to concentrate. So I can see Jackie, Ellen, Yvonne, Fiona, Nikki, Joe, Joanne, and Vicky. So I'll hold on for a few minutes more and just expecting a couple of others. Just going to reply to Jen, who's just asked me for the link. So that's that one. So how is everybody? Had a good Christmas and New Year and back raring to go for 2020.
Good.
Yeah, very good.
Good. I'll soon be here now. The later nights are coming along. And, right. A couple of seconds, and I think Jenny Sheen's going to be joining us, and then we can kick off. I've got a message of Vicky. Vicky's browser doesn't support the audio. Oh dear. Okay. I'll send a message. I will be preparing a webinar, so you can catch up. Okay. Okay. Right. So here we are, ready to go. So today we are talking about compasses. So I'm going to share my screen. 1, 2, 3. Share my screen. And you don't want to look at Facebook. Right. So this is the third in a series of map reading and POR online training for this winter. So today our topic is Compass Basics. So some of you might have attended an earlier webinar we had in November where we talked about compass bearings, and I did wonder, they're kind of out of order sequence in a way, but the order sequence was determined by a poll that I did on Facebook and the popularity. So the highest scoring request was bearings. The next one was, and the third one was Compass Basics. So today we're going to come back to Compass Basics. which will have some overlap with compass bearings, but both of which are very good practice, because one of the things with compasses and bearings and map reading is practice, practice, practice. So I know we all been coming out of winter, dusting off your compass, looking at it and going, oh my goodness, what do I do with this? Having that rusty reminder that starting polishing it off and getting to grips with it. So
Hello, I've joined.
hello, yay.
I've come on my iPad, so
Excellent.
I've got MacBook in front of me, but I've given up on that and I've come on the iPad.
Oh, good stuff. Excellent. So one of the things I'm going to say to you, January now, competition starts probably May, maybe April. There's training courses. I've got quite a few training courses in April. I know some of the other clubs have got some training events going on, and lots of, I know track have got one later in January up near Delamere. I know Bowland have got some going on training. So get out there and get practicing and get your compasses. So everything that we're going to look at today is available as a reference on the Learning Zone. So everyone who is on the call tonight, I think, is a member. So you've got access 24/7 to the Learning Zone, which is what you can see on my screen now. So within the Learning Zone, just a quick recap. You've got lots of different topics, trek information and tips, online training dates, which is this one, plus the other one that we've done, one with Helen Wayne on biomechanics. We've got one next week with a lady who does confidence coaching and mindset coaching, and she's going to be talking about New Year's resolutions and making goals and plans that stick and you succeed. We've got sections on POR orienteering. You can see that's the biggest section at the moment. So there's 20 posts in there with lots of information. I've got a new section with PTV obstacles. So over the Christmas and the New Year period, I introduced the 12 days of Trekmas, and we've got posts in there with hints and tips, so the rules for the obstacle, but hints and tips for training. And I'm going to be over the next few months adding videos of how to do obstacles and also common mistakes. So watch out for that one. And then we've got a section on controller paces, which is a little bit lean at the moment. And then one that you'll hopefully find really useful is map and compass exercises. So there's 6 exercises in there, all things that you can do without your horse. I think they're all, they're all things you can do on foot. And then we've got the map room exercises, which are basically simulated map room. So you get a master map and a blank map, and you can copy your routes. And there's also some quiz and reference in there. Pole work for trek is a new section, and that's going to be building that up over the next few months with exercises using poles that help you with trek obstacles. So that's just a quick recap of what is in there, and that's all included in your membership. So this is not available to everyone. So today we are looking at compasses. So in the POR section, we've got lots of lots of topics in here, and the one that we're interested in today is we've got the beginner's guide to using a compass. So if I skip to the next page, so some resources here, and there's lots of OS map resources from the internet. Now I've recycled them and provided links here, because they are absolutely fantastic training documents and videos, and you know, why reinvent the wheel when there's something that's fantastic that's already there. So the Learning Zone is kind of a signpost to all these fantastic resources. So the first one we're going to look at is Know Your Compass. So I click to the next one. There are, I mean, we've got different levels of people on the call tonight, so apologies, I'll start with the basics. But if you went into a shop and said, I want a compass, then you might get offered something like this one here, which is very basic and tells you where north, south, east and west are. But other than that, it doesn't really, it certainly wouldn't be any use for you in Trek, or it wouldn't be a lot of use. It would at least tell you where north and south, etc. are. But they're usually quite cheap and poor quality. Although Silver is one of the best compass makers, so it's not so necessarily cheap and poor quality. But you need more than that. Now, some training courses I've done, people have arrived with a sighting compass, and sighting compasses are a really good bit of kit, but they are more used by the military, and they're not really that useful for orienteering, and certainly not orienteering on horseback, having to line up your line of sight with the line here. So they're not really they're kind of an advanced compass, but not really good for Trek. So the compass that we recommend for Trek is the one that you can see on the screen now. So this is a compass, or orienteering compass, that has a 10-type plastic base plate, and this is the one that I would recommend to go out and buy. Now, if you're buying a compass, you can go out, and I've bought quite a compass, you know, many years ago from the phone shop. You know, it looked like that, and it had a needle in the middle, and it moved, and it sort of worked. They're sort of okay. They're not reliable. So if you are, you know, needing to navigate and be accurate, you need a compass that has cost more than £1 or £2. Equally, you don't have to spend hundreds of pounds. I mean, I've got one compass that is a sighting compass, not like the one above. It looks like this, but it's a sighting compass. And I shouldn't really say this because my husband said it, but it cost me nearly £100 because I decided I wanted this compass really good for doing bearings. So you don't need to spend that kind of money. And this compass here, you probably would pay about £15 or £20 would buy you a good compass that would do a good job. So there's different parts to the compass, and I've got a little video that I'm going to play in a minute that will explain that. I've seen quite a few compasses that have a short base plate now that comes to about here, and I personally don't like them. If you are taking a bearing, you've got this nice long edge here to put against the side of your route or your line. It's a personal thing because it's still I've got a compass like that in my box of tricks, and it still works, and it's a decent make of compass, but personally I'm not that keen on it. So let me show you a little video that tells you about the components of the compass. So this bit underneath here will tell you about the compass housing, the needle and the base plate. But I'll play a little, again, this is Ordnance Survey, and I love these little videos. So I'm going to play this one for you first.
So probably the most basic but essential bit of kit and navigation is this, the compass. And knowing your way around it is really important. First up, we have the base plates. That's this bit here, which in this case is large and rectangular. And then we have the compass housing, which is also known as the bezel. Inside this, the needle floats freely inside fluid and will orientate itself towards magnetic north. So the lines at the base of the bezel or compass housing, those parallel lines, are orientating lines. So these you'll use to line up the compass with the grid lines on your OS map. The arrow there in the center is the orientating arrow. So all of these can be very helpful in helping you to gain your bearing. Once you've got that, you then use your direction of travel arrow to send you in the right direction. Around the edge of the base plate, you've got lots of different scales which you use to measure distance and also to help you in forming your six-figure grid reference. So you can use those there. And then last of all, right in the middle, we have a magnifying glass to help you see fine detail. So in summary, the key parts of the compass are the base plate, the direction of travel arrow to send you in the right direction, the bezel or compass housing, orientating lines, they line up with the grid lines on the map, compass scale to help with measurements on the map, index line is the marker to count degrees, orientating arrow to use in conjunction with the direction of travel arrow, compass needle which points to north.
So there you go, a great little video there from Steve in Ordnance Survey. So once you know what compass you need, I remember when I first started Trek and looking at the compass and being really frightened, going, oh my God, I'll never master this. So again, for me, it comes back to practice, practice, practice. And I remember, you know, it's probably going back 8 years ago and probably on a training exercise, and everyone went off doing the compass bearings. And I was stood at the beginning going, I still don't get this. I can't do my first one. And probably it felt like, you know, sitting down and crying. And over the years, I went to different trainings. And one day, just the light bulb moment and the penny dropped. And I just went, I get it. I get it. And sometimes that's just the way that somebody explains it to you, and you know, just practice. So the next video that I've got to show you then, we'll start to talk to you about taking a compass bearing. Now, if you are doing level 1 and level 2, you don't need to take a compass bearing. So for anyone who's with us tonight that is new to Trek, let me just reassure you that you don't need to take a compass bearing. Level 1 is really basic. You're out of the map room, you're following tracks, you're following, you know, easy to navigate stuff. Level 2 is a little bit more difficult. It's only when you get to level 2A, 3 and 4 where you may be given grids and bearings exercises. However, I always recommend to anyone who comes to my training sessions is if there's only one thing that you use your compass for, is getting out of the map room and going in the right direction. If you can use your compass to take a bearing and go in the right direction, you will feel a lot more confident, and you'll feel a lot more confident when you're out there to be able to get your compass out and use it. So I certainly recommend it, but what I'm saying is you don't need to do, so one step at a time. So there's a little video now that I'm going to share with you, which is showing you how to take a compass and a compass bearing. And I'll just repeat, if you've not done this before, it's something that you don't need to do, you don't need to know. And I've got handouts which I can send by, well, I don't need to send by email, they're on the Learning Zone. You've got this video that you can refer to, and then any of my training courses, we always cover stuff like this. So I'm going to just play you the next little video there.
So once you know how a compass works, you can use it in connection with the map to get around. Let's confirm where we are. This is our point here, right by this car park. And I'd like to get to the campsite here. The first thing I'm going to do is line up those 2 points using an edge of my compass. So this is point A in this field, and this is point B at the campsite. Making sure that the direction of travel arrow is pointing in the direction I want to go. Next thing I have to do is line up the orientation lines inside the bezel with the grid lines on the map. Be really certain the orientating arrow is facing grid north on the map. Now, don't forget to add your magnetic variation. You know that round here, that's about 2 degrees. So I'll add that on, 1, 2. So now all I need to do is to line up my needle with the lines inside the bezel, look down the direction of travel arrow, hit the landmark, and I walk towards it. Once I get there, I repeat this whole procedure and I can continue walking on a bearing.
Okay, so there's one thing that I'm going to mention there that Steve mentioned was about magnetic variation. And in this country, the magnetic variation is so small, we ignore it. And I think the only people who would even consider talking and using magnetic variation would be level 4 riders. So forget magnetic variation in this country. So once you've got all that, where do you go next? So on the learning zone, which if I can get to my page. Oh, okay. So on the learning zone, under the map and compass exercises. So I've got a number of exercises here that you can do. Now it's very difficult to do exercises actually here and now in the webinar. So these are things that you can do at home. Now there's quite a few in here, so there's plenty to keep you going until the start of the season. And some of them, there's one that I've just added recently. There we go, 26 minutes ago. This is a really neat little exercise, which I suggest that you do it in pairs. As I say, you've got access to this, so you can print it off or write it out. And in this exercise, you get a post. It can be like one of your electric fencing posts or whatever, and a piece of rope. And you put the post with a piece of rope in the middle here. And then the challenge is that you, from this post, measure, so for this one, you measure 340 degrees and you put a marker there at 340 degrees. You go back to the middle post, you do the same there at 32 and repeat that with all the markers. Once you've done all that, you then do a little course. So you actually start at marker A. So you're starting here where you put your marker A, and then you take a bearing of 305 degrees. So from there, you take a bearing of 305 degrees and you write down which marker you've reached. Now I've got a whole raft of about 8 exercises with just this simple set of markers, and I think it's a really fabulous way of practicing your compass. So it's a little bit mind-boggling to get going with, but if you can do it in pairs or even as a club exercise. So Jen, I know there's quite a few Nest members in the learning zone, so you might want to get together, have a cup of tea and set something up like this and have a little practice. And just by doing this, you'll be amazed how confident you get with your compass. You know, even if you've set it up, and maybe you've set it up somewhere where you can leave it out, go back to it next month, do the same. Even if you do the same exercise, because you're actually using your compass, you become really much more confident. So that's a new one that I've added in there. That's really good. And one of my other favourites that's quite an easy one is the 3-leg compass exercise. So this one, basically, I haven't got a picture of this one, but basically is a triangle. And if you follow these set of bearings, you will basically follow a triangle and end up where you started. It's so simple. It's probably harder to read it and try and understand, but it's so simple to do. And again, just by practice, it really gets you to grips with a compass and using a compass. So those are the 2 that I would recommend in the coming weeks. and you've got some other ones there. Know your compass and other bits and bobs. The navigation exercise 3 and 2 are a little bit more advanced than the 3-leg compass exercise. So have a go at those. The first one that I showed you with the compass bearings exercise, the answer is actually in the comments below the exercise. So when you've done it, you can check your results there. And as always, if you've got any questions with any of these, do get in touch, drop me an email or whatever. Or you can actually comment on some of these posts and ask questions. So feel free to do that. And then I can get to, this one. I should have done this one first. This one is the basics of compass. So knowing, getting familiar with what is north, south, east and west. So north is always 0 degrees, south 180, east is 90 and west is 270. So getting familiar with those again, the more familiar you get, the more comfortable that you begin to be with your compass. So that takes me to the end of the actual presentation. I'd like to take a pause there and invite anyone, if you've got any questions, then shout out. No questions? If you're
No questions from me.
No, that looks good. I'm looking forward to having a play with those exercises.
Yeah, me too. Thank you.
Excellent. So well, I'm hoping it was useful. So go away, have a play. Let me know what you think, good and bad. I am always looking for new ideas to add into the training zone. So if you think of anything, feel free to put a request in. If I know some of you on the call, I'll be seeing in the not too distant future. We've got a camp at Somerford Park in March and a couple of camps in April in Shropshire and Wales. So you'll get to practice lots of things, and other, if you're not, within travelling distance of where my camps are, I'm sure your clubs are putting stuff on, and if they're not, and you go to, your secretary, chairman, whatever, and say, oh, we'd like to do, how about doing this? I'm sure most trek clubs would be pleased to put something on for you. Okay, so gonna have a play, and hopefully I'll see you next week. If you've not already seen the invite for Tracy with New Year's resolutions, but more importantly goal setting. So what do you want to achieve this year? Join us next Tuesday by Zoom. If you haven't signed up already for that particular one, you do need to sign up with your email address beforehand. So check out the link on the events section. If you're stuck, drop me an email and I'll send you the instructions directly, so you can join us. And look forward to seeing you all soon.
And in the meantime, I'll sort my laptop out so that it does audio.
I know. After spending all that money on a new laptop.
No, it's I don't know. It just says browser won't support it. I've got to download Safari, so I don't know what Macs use, but obviously not Safari.
Oh, I thought Safari was standard for Apple, but.
Oh, well, the best of it is it's an Apple iPad that I'm on, and that's just all I've done is download the app very quickly, because obviously it's a mobile device, it's an iPad, so it's very quickly downloaded the app, and the